Hey YouTube, this is the art of prepping. It's getting very cold out and the sun's getting ready to set, so I'm gonna make this a very quick video. I sometimes watch the squirrels when I have a few moments, and they're very driven. They're very focused little creatures, trying to get food in their belly so they can gain weight, so they can actually survive the winter that's coming. And at least in my area, it's supposed to be a very harsh winter. Now, with that being said, I got thinking about us humans. How focused are we as a people, especially here in the United States? Let's just say that, for example. I mean, maybe this could be extrapolated into other countries, like first world countries. But for me, though, in the United States, it seems like the vast majority of people, either through welfare or through their own hard work, have figured out how to get by. I'd say the vast majority. I'd say well over 90% have some means or have figured out some system to get food, water, shelter, and basic medical. I think that you would probably agree with that. So let's just take that number. Let's say 90 to 95% of Americans get their needs met. Of course, there's that other percent, it could be 1, 2, even 5% of people that may not, just because of maybe their mental health state or other disabilities, or maybe their personal decision making. Maybe they have addictions or whatever that's out of my control and most people's control. But with that being said, though, for us people, us 90+% that have all of our basic needs met, unlike the squirrel, which has to seek out the food and shelter and survive the hardship, it's not like they have some kind of wood fire burning stove, or they don't have a furnace, basically what I'm saying, up in the tree in their little nest. They don't have food that's in a refrigerator that they can defrost and eat. These little animals have to literally just survive every day, the true definition. And so when we look at that, well, when I look at that, what I find is it's interesting how this 90+% of the population who has their needs met still feels so unfulfilled to some degree. Not everyone, but a good amount of people just have a hard time knowing what to do with their time. And I just can't help but to wonder that, not that I wish hardship on anybody, but if we had to maybe work a little harder for our food and water and shelter, that there'd be more focus. Now, some people say, well, you don't want that. You would basically bring down the progress of civilization. It's very possible, but just think about how much free time we have. I mean, besides going to work, some people, work at home, however you have it. Some people have an enormous amount of free time. There are people who literally have every day is their free day. Like, there are people who have figured out this system, either for the good or bad, welfare, or maybe they've just retired early or whatever. There's a lot of situations that could be for the good or bad of society, but there are people that have things figured out to the sense that they don't have to do a 9-to-5 job or any type of job. And then the question for them is, what do you do with your time? Now, there's a lot of people who say, oh, I know exactly what I would do. I'd travel and do all these things. Of course, when they stop and think about that, it's really not cheap to go around and just travel and do all this. Then they go, okay, well, I'll be a little more realistic and just say, well, maybe once a year I take a vacation. But then it comes back to the question of, what do you do when you're not on vacation? The other 50, let's just say 50 weeks of the year, right? And some people would say, well, I definitely would volunteer or do this and that. And maybe you would. But what would you really do outside of even that? Like, what would you do that would cause you to pause and go, wow, I'm really a part of something that's important? I think this is the dilemma question. I don't have the answer for you. If you're wanting me to tell you the answer, I don't have it. But I think it's up to you as an individual to figure that out. But the posing of the question is the key here. And that's what I'm getting at. Not a lot of people even pose that question. Now, there are people who are so busy and wrapped up in their life, maybe because they have kids and they have, a full-time job, or maybe even 2 jobs, or maybe there's just a lot of drama in their particular life that they've chose to be in, that they don't have even the luxury to ask questions of what should I really be doing with my time. They just need to do X, Y, and Z, or they have to get certain things done. And if not, they'll have consequences. So they're so focused on meeting goals that they don't get the chance to say, what do I really want to do with my life? But for us people, and I'm not saying a few of us, but there's definitely maybe a minority of us that can say this, they can say, what should I be doing with my time? If it was something that I could sit down and say, if I could just do anything with my time, what would I really want to do? Like, what would I really want to do with it? That's a big question. It's actually much harder, though, for most people to answer that. There's some people who can just say right off the bat, oh, I would definitely go and do mission work over there at the whatever place in whatever country for the rest of my life. And that would be somewhat easy to say that, but would you really do it, though? I mean, it's really easy to say that you would do all this stuff. And there's people who say, oh, yeah, I would definitely on my bucket list want to jump out of planes and do very, risky things. But would they really do it if they were given the opportunity? I'd have to say probably half of them would say no. I mean, easily. It's just easy to say things. So that's why I'm not coming to any conclusion on this video. It's just something for you to ponder on. Because as preppers, it's good to know what direction we're going. And this kind of bounces off the last video, the last philosophy video, talking about having a place and having a goal and having a direction, getting a path made to a destination and actually being okay with the journey to get there, which is so difficult these days to actually commit to something because it's like every day it seems like there's a new set of options that you can do different things with your time, especially if you're on the internet or social media or if you have different types of friends. I mean, just for an example, you could get a new job, and just those people in that new job that you befriend can literally take you in directions of your life that you would have never experienced before and never could even comprehend. I mean, I've worked for, let's just say a zoo, in my life when I was younger. I worked at a zoo, and I met some strange people. I mean, I don't know, not all of them were strange, but quite a few of them were totally just not like me at all. So maybe strange in that way. They're not like bad people or nothing. They were just very different. And of course, they probably thought I was very different too, and maybe a little too conservative or a little too structured, or I don't know. Who knows what they thought? I don't really care, but I did befriend a few of them for a short period of time. And then when I left the zoo, and I simply now can reflect back of like, wow, I just don't think I'd want to be with those kind of people. Like I don't really know. Like you have to try things out. Like when I was in college, you're just trying to figure out like what kind of people are out there. So you kind of mingle with all kinds of people. Some people are extremely high strung. Some of them are so low key that it's like, are you brain dead? And then there's people that are so overly analytical. It's just no fun to be with them. And then there's some people that are so outgoing and carefree that they put themselves and others in danger. And you're like, whoa, that's a big extreme. So it's almost like, can you find someone in the middle? Is there a such thing as a balanced person? And the answer is maybe, depending on your view of that. But it's not like the easiest thing to find people that you can click with. Now, in college, it was kind of easier because, like, for example, I lived in the dorms, and there was literally like thousands and thousands of people at my university that lived on campus. And so it's kind of easy to meet people of both genders, Maybe you just, want another guy friend. You just want to hang out and do guy stuff. Or maybe you want to hang out with, and you have a girlfriend and you want to just do things like that. And you're like, okay, it was like very easy, You simply just ask around for a couple hours and you'll have a new friend, and, or just hang out somewhere at the computer lab, and you'll probably be invited 2 or 3 times by pretty much strangers. Hey, you want to go get something to eat? Or, hey, we're going to the movies, even though we just met you, do you want to come along? I mean, there's stuff like that I've encountered in my life when I was in college. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks, I'll come along. And it's just like, And then, you have a relationship that lasts for years, or maybe it goes on forever. Who knows, depending on if you want to maintain that or not. That's just kind of what I've noticed, is that life can really go in different directions. But with all that being said, I think that we all need to know about what direction is really what we want to do. Do we want to be a certain type of person over another? Do we want to have certain types of goals that mean that we have to go without certain things, or we have to do certain things to get that? It's all give and take to some degree, for the most part. So anyways, it's getting dark. I've made this video over about 5 times. It's like my 5th attempt. My hands are numb, and the animals are pretty much already going to bed. So that kind of means that I need to go to bed before the big wolves and stuff come out. So you guys take care. I'm not really sure exactly if I made this point very clear, but it's kind of fun to do these like rant videos, or just me kind of rambling. For me, it's very cathartic. And for me, it's always trying to just figure things out by speaking out loud. I'm the kind of guy that I have a hard time thinking in my head, but when I start speaking it and getting it out, outward, discussions, things kind of click for me. I get a lot more clarity. So just sitting out here in the woods talking to myself, literally, talking to my phone, gives me great clarity. And it just happens that I record some of this and let you hear about it. So you're so lucky. So you guys take care and be safe in the woods.